Alright guys, he's getting ready to install this 30 amp plug. What are you doing in there?
Thought we would jump back with you guys, kind of show you a little bit of the finesse of this plug. Again, I told you that we're going to be going with a 30 amp plug here. Got neutral and a hot, and on the back of this got the green, always, that's ground. Then you got two silvers here, and you would ask yourself, how can you tell which is what? That's a good question, because even I need to double check and see what we got here. If you'll look on the back of this plug right here, see a W. And trust me, electricians or would-be electricians, we need it dumbed down like this. So a W right here for white. The prong I said is green, so if we turn this around here and match it up, that means that this guy right here, which will line up like that, that's your white, and then right here is going to be your black or hot. So we come back over here. At any rate, I showed you guys how to determine which is hot and which is neutral. So now we go back here to the back of our plug, take these screws all the way out, and with solid wire you want to strip off just enough so you can turn a hook on these screws here, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Right there, about, I would say about a 1/2 inch. That would be typical for, you know, a wire nut splice or something like that. But a hook, you almost want to double that. You want to come back to probably about 1 inch. Strip it back. That's probably actually about 1.5 inches, just based on my fingertip to knuckle right here. Right here on your stripper, you got this little dude that says loop right here. Stick that in that loophole right there. Just use the strippers, turn down that nice little loop right there. Okay, same thing with the hot. Strip it again, about 1.25 inches, 1.5 inches, something like that. Stick it through that loophole, turn it over. And guys, if you're sitting there thinking to yourself, I know this stuff, then you know, you can forward along through this, helping those out there that may not know or need a little bit more finesse on it. And back here we have this pigtail. I call this a pigtail. It goes to a grounding harness back here, and there is the ground wire that comes from our feed that ties to this to ground the box itself. That's necessary just in case you get a short in this outlet. You don't want this box to inadvertently become energized, so you ground the box so that way if you get a short in this plug, you won't touch this box and get electrocuted. You want to turn these hooks to where when you tighten up the screw, it actually takes that hook and bends it back around on itself. See, righty-tighty, and it'll take that hook and actually firm it up. And I go ahead and take my strippers, bite on it like that, and go ahead and pinch it together. Go ahead and snug it on down. And remember guys, tight is tight. You don't have to kill it, just give it a nice little snug, okay? In case you're wondering, that did hurt. That hit my hand. Okay. Again, take your black, hook it around there. And that one's already pretty tight, so all we got to do is snug that bad boy on down. We're going to take this ground and fix it real quick because it actually came apart here. Of course not. Real quick here on your strippers, this stripper is a combination stripper. You got your different strippers here, a little set of pliers. You can even cut different size screws right here, but down here we have several different types of crimpers down here. You can see the difference in them when I close it, but you have non-insulated where they actually pinch almost all the way together, insulated where you have just the slightest bit of an opening right there because you don't want to smash the insulation all the way out, and this is for your larger insulated like for automotive or something like that. But you take, since this is a non-insulated connector here, take your uninsulated crimper and you grab it in like that, give it a nice little squeeze. Give it a tug, make sure it's going to stay, then you put it back on your outlet. And guys, that's pretty much it for putting on a plug. I'm going to put these covers on, and once we get in the panel, we'll get right back with you. Stay tuned. Alright guys, obviously, because of the precarious nature of what we're doing here with working in an electrical panel, I went ahead and took care of everything inside of it. But I was kind of wanting to highlight, just, you know, looking at this panel, you really got to marvel at the guys that put this together. I mean, there was a lot of care taken with the individual that put this panel together. You can see that there's a few other circuits that got added, but the vast majority, I mean, you got nice straight wires hooked up into it, and it looks really well. One thing for those of you that may not know, because this is the service entry of the house, you got your conduit right here that goes out to your meter base. The reason why I highlight that is because a service entrance panel, you need to bond the neutral to ground, which means this neutral bar right here has a lug that goes and connects it to the box. You see a little bus bar right here that connects this other ground bar, and you have your neutrals and grounds all hooked together. This is the circuit that I had added here. You see my black that's tied to the breaker. I got my white up here and my ground going to the same bar. Now, for any of you that's looking for a replacement breaker or adding another breaker into your panel, if you can't find necessarily the panel, or the breaker that fits your panel, check out factory recommendations on an alternate breaker. See, like this is a Murray panel, and we actually was able to fit a GE breaker into it. Just check the manufacturer, see what it allows, and it'll give you options to, you know, alternate breakers if you can't find this particular breaker. Like when we went to Home Depot, they didn't actually have this style of breaker in stock, but we checked the manufacturer and it said a GE would work. But that's basically it for this. I'm going to close it up, and We'll energize the circuit. I'll get my meter on it, make sure that we got the proper voltages out there, and we'll get the camper plugged up. Thanks, guys.